So then you end up moving to Philadelphia, right? And how long do you guys live there?
All right, so I'm in Philly at that point till my mom died in 1990 from cancer. So I was 10 years old. So I think I left Philly probably 10 or 11. My sisters had already moved to New York. My brother, I think, was just about to move out into his own crib. So I moved with my sisters at that point. I'm a teenage boy, so I kind of didn't want to be with my step-pop, though that was the best place for me. That was structure, that was discipline, but I wanted to be around my family. So, I moved with my sisters. And of course, getting older, I'm a boy, I'm smelling myself. I start dating girls. You start doing whatever it is you're doing. Next thing you know, you're not listening. So yeah, that didn't go good. My sisters wasn't able to teach me how to be a man. You know how that goes.
So when you, well, first, rest in peace to your moms, man.
Thank you, man.
When you guys end up moving to New York, which part of New York are you living in?
Okay, so when I moved back to New York, this time I'm living in Long Island, and I'm living in where was we living at first? When I moved back, we was living in Wyandanch. That's on Long Island. And then we actually, I'm talking about, we had it rough when I moved back, like, because my sister she was still young, so she had me, her, and her son. So I think we was in Wyandanch. I think we had to stay at shelters and all of that, and we wound up settling down in another part of Long Island called Huntington. And that's where I went to, that's where I kind of went to school. That's where I started really rapping and all of that stuff.
So your mom ends up passing away when you're 10. That's just so young for you to be losing your mom at that time. And you said she passed
Absolutely.
away from cancer, right?
Yes,
Was
sir.
she a
Yes, sir.
smoker or?
Yeah. My mom was definitely a heavy cigarette smoker. For those that don't know that may see this, back in the 80s, in the 90s, everybody was smoking cigarettes. That was just, I don't know if it was a cool thing or whatever, but yeah, my mom was a heavy cigarette smoker. She was diagnosed with that, and I was too young to even know or understand. So, I just remember we being in a hospital one day, me, her, and my brother, and this is on her decline. And it's funny that when people have those type of sicknesses where they could possibly die, they functions be up and down. So one day they might not be doing too good. One day you might think they're about to come home. So I remember one day we went to see my mom. She was looking like herself. She had a glow. She knew what was going on. She was coherent. She was ready to go home. And I think like 48 hours later, that's when she kind of checked out. And I was sitting in there. I just remember my brother came out. Like basically, her hospital room is here. I literally walk out the hospital room as I'm walking out. My brother's walking in. The moment I guess I walked out, my mom let go. My brother was in there, so it's kind of like literally, as soon as I left the room, I just hear my brother like, "Yo, she left us." So yeah, that's how it went, bro.
Do you remember like your reaction at that time? Like how you coped with it when your mom passed?
I was cold as a kid, man. Like, nobody was there to explain it. And my step pop, being the military cat that he wasn't into emotions. So he didn't even know how to give me that. And like I said, my sisters and them, everybody was kind of young still. I was the youngest, so nobody really knew what to tell me. So I kind of had to just make up in my head what I thought I should do. And from that point, it was, though I was with people, I had to just figure it out, man. I had to figure out the birds and the bees. I had to figure out the streets. I just had to figure it out, man, because no mama, that's the foundation. And like I said, my step pop, only thing he know to teach me is go to work or go to the military.
That's interesting that you say that, because so at that time, nobody communicated to you how to process the grief or make sense of what was going on in life. So you had to figure it out by yourself.
Yeah, 100%. I remember that vividly. Yeah, like there, unfortunately for a lot of people, especially in the ghetto where I'm from, when death happens, you got to just figure out how to react to it. And sometimes we just cope. You already know, getting high, getting drunk. And at that point, I was too young to get high or drunk. So I just turned it into violence. So that's when I think I got super violent and I began to fight a lot.
It's interesting because, in the minority communities, they say like, there's nothing you can do but put a H on it and handle it. Right.
Facts.
And you just, it's almost like you bury those emotions and you just keep on moving on with life. Like it's so normalized that, death or these traumatic things happen in life that we can't allow it to stop us. to
Right.
process, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then it starts
Right.
to manifest its way in other parts of our lives because, they always say like, what you resist will persist, right? So how do
Yes,
you
sir.
feel like not not learning how to process your emotions and deal with that grief in the proper way? How do you think that manifested in your life at that time?
Hmm. Besides just, well, as kids, the first thing the kids say, you figure in school or outside on the street, when kids are arguing or they playing the dozens, first thing a kid gonna say is your mom. Your mom dirty, your mom fat, your mom smoke crack. I wasn't having it. As soon as you said my mom anything, I was choking in class. I didn't understand though that I was scaring the teachers. Like, I would see people fight all the time, but they had to explain to me. They was like, yo, you're not fighting. You're choking people in class. You're not stopping until somebody gets you off the person. They was letting me know, like, yo, you could easily kill somebody because you kind of blanking out. You're not realizing how bad you're becoming. So yeah, it really just made me super violent, man. If I didn't start rapping, yeah, it would have got dark, bro.
Did you feel like disconnected from reality at that time? Because like it seemed like you weren't
Yeah.
comprehending what you were really doing.
Yeah, I was definitely totally detached. I didn't know because again, you got to figure this is a kid growing up. Nobody told me about sex. Nobody told me about love. Nobody told me about the streets. I got to experience these things and just figure them out. So on top of that, with anger, yeah, bro, it wasn't good. So like I could tell you now, looking back, my life at that point was just movies and TV. That was my only escape because yeah, bro, I didn't know what I had no clue what was happening.